China is the country that loves to hoard soybeans in the world. It is also the country with the highest soybean reserves in the world. Soybean production in China is very low. Most of them rely on imports. There are only two sellers of soybeans on Earth. One called China. One called other countries. Why does China like to stockpile soybeans so much? Because we were tricked so badly before. Before 2001. China has applied multiple times to join the WTO. Arms America rejects. The most difficult to negotiate among the reasons for rejection is China must sign a Sino-US Agricultural Cooperation Agreement, opening China's grain market to the United States. The main food crops exported by the United States are wheat and soybeans. The United States demands that we all open up. And even if we negotiate a compromise, at least one must be opened. If no one is open, then the United States will prevent us from joining the WTO. As long as one country does not sign, then China can't enter. Besides, the country that refused is the United States. After repeated weighing and negotiation, finally we opened the soybean market to the U.S. Wheat market retained. Because although the price of soybeans is high, but the output is low, the main purpose is to produce oil and meat. Even if something goes wrong, at most, I can't eat meat. Wheat is a staple food. Retain wheat market. The bottom line to ensure that Chinese people have enough to eat. China joined the WTO in 2001 and abide by the treaty's opening of soybean markets to the United States. Then the overwhelming amount of American soybeans instantly destroyed China's soybean industry. U.S. soybeans are transitional soybeans. There is still black soil everywhere in the mainland, resulting in particularly high soybean yields. Very low cost. You can also receive agricultural subsidies from the U.S. Treasury Department every year. This makes U.S. soybeans competitive price advantage. The hidden price of shipping to China by sea can be half the price of Chinese soybeans. Faced with the huge price gap, soon there will be no soybean companies. Are you willing to harvest Chinese soybeans? In the face of plummeting soybean prices, farmers are not willing to lose money and become secondary vocational students. Soon China's soybean production began to decrease rapidly. 2002. China's soybean production declines. 2003. China's soybean output is only a fraction of the money it paid to join the WTO. Soybean companies across the country. Everyone is buying American soybeans. When China stops growing soybeans, good businessmen in the United States have begun to engage in frivolous operations. August 2003. 1 month away from U.S. soybean harvest, the U.S. Department of Agriculture suddenly issued a statement. It is said that Hanqing will cause a significant reduction in soybean production. Subsequently, an announcement will be made every month. Expected soybean stocks lowered for fourth consecutive month. Inspired by data released by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, global soybean prices start to soar quickly from 2,300 yuan per ton. The price has soared to 4,400 yuan per ton. This price has exceeded the price of soybeans in China. But growing soybeans takes time. In just a few months, we won't be able to distinguish soybeans. The price of 4,400 yuan per ton is really too high. This is equivalent to doubling the estimated cost. Chinese soybean companies refused to accept. So they began to reduce imports. Use the soybeans in stock to cope with daily production. We hope that soybean prices will fall back over time. Because there are rumors the U.S. government will intervene in soaring soybean prices. Therefore, many soybean companies have chosen to wait and see. Chinese soybean companies are unwilling to buy prices. What to do with soybeans after the surge? I have all the goods. You don't have any output yourself either. If you say you don't want to buy it, then you don't want to buy it. Harvest is about to begin. March 2004. USDA announces no increase in soybean production. After this news was announced, global soybean prices surge again. Rapidly rose to 5,500 yuan per ton. And there is no stopping trend at all. At this time, China's soybean companies finally panicked. Because after half a year, the soybeans in stock in our warehouse have been used up. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has made it clear that it will not intervene. The price of soybeans keeps rising. The more you buy, the more you will suffer. Under panic, Chinese soybean companies running out of soybean stocks. They quickly signed contracts with American grain merchants. Huge long-term soybean purchase contract. The purchase amount signed is an astronomical figure. After all Chinese soybean companies have signed contracts, U.S. grain merchants have begun to close the net. Because the purchasing volume of other countries is only smaller than that of Xiaoxi. The main focus is on Chinese soybean companies. After obtaining the high-priced soybean purchase contract, the U.S. Department of Agriculture suddenly announced two news. First one, it is said that the United States considers people's livelihood. In order to consider the food problem of the people, policies will be formulated to encourage soybean production. Second, said there was something wrong with the previously announced soybean inventory data. The statistical caliber of staff members is wrong. Actually, there is not that much shortage of soybeans. Please don't panic by soybeans. Compassionate and sensitive people love the people like this. No one can say the USDA did anything wrong. It's due to the staff's statistical error. They have been given internal warnings to set off. After these two news are released, in just over a month, the price of soybeans starts from 5,500 yuan per end. It's reduced to 2,200 new Taiwan dollars per end. Back to this round. The starting point of trendy soybean prices. Then all Chinese soybean companies were dumbfounded. Procurement without contract. Then you have to pay a sky-high liquidated damages. Purchasing by contract. That would be a big loss. Under the advantages and disadvantages of full horizontal, a large number of Chinese soybean companies chose to default. Because even if the deposit is deducted, you also have to pay sky-high liquidated damages. Calculate it. You will lose less than buying soybeans at high prices. Soon, America's four mass traders jointly sue Chinese soybean companies for breach of contract. Chinese soybean companies are required to pay more than 40 billion yuan in compensation. If not paid, that must be done globally. Embargo on soybeans from China. And sued China at the WTO. That was more than 40 billion in 2003. After this thought, Chinese soybean enterprise Vitality Merchant. Bankruptcies within a year. Except for some state-owned soybean companies, they have been able to hold on. Almost all others died. 2003. There are more than 1,000 soybean industry companies in China. By the end of 2004, only about 90 were still alive. 64 of them are controlled by foreign capital. There are only more than 30 soybean companies left in China. And most of them are state-owned enterprises. Just 1 year, 97% of Chinese soybean companies were wiped out. In this soybean battle, Chinese soybean companies can be called completely annihilated. It's not just Chinese soybean companies that are beginners. And Chinese soybean farmers. End of 2003. The price of soybeans has soared to more than 4,000 yuan per ton. For Chinese soybean farmers, this price, already very profitable. In March 2004, it soared to more than 5,500 yuan per ton. After seeing this price, Chinese soybean farmers are jealous. As a result, many soybeans in April Planting soybeans begins during planting season. Not long after the result, the U.S. Department of Agriculture suddenly issued an announcement. Then soybean prices plummeted rapidly. By June, the price of soybeans is only 2,200 yuan per ton. But at this time, Chinese soybean farmers, all the soybeans have been planted. Only 2 months left until harvest time. You continue planting soybeans until harvest, will suffer heavy losses. You dig up half of the soybeans planted, the losses will be more severe. Because once the peasant trick has passed, can't grow anything else. By the end of August, China's soybean harvest surges. But the price of soybeans at this time, already firmly shaken to death, above 2,200 yuan per ton. You can't sell it for even $1 more. The year 2004. China's soybean farmers suffer massive losses. Faced with a warehouse full of cool soybeans, I feel like crying without tears. I lost several years of savings in 1 year. Never dare to plant soybeans again. From beans to bean farmers in China, all suffered heavy losses in 2004. China's soybean industry from upstream to downstream. U.S. grain merchants took advantage of this to completely monopolize. In a short period of time, American grain merchants eat us up until our mouths are full of oil. If you become addicted to eating, it will take a few years. Play like this again. What should I do? After all, the lowest price for soybean production in the hands of American grain merchants. Maximum production volume. Also